Would you defy a court order? Because we all know that was outrageous.
I never did defy a court order.
And you wouldn't in the future?
No, you can't do that. However, we have bad judges. We have very bad judges, and these are judges that shouldn't be allowed. I think at a certain point you have to start looking at what do you do when you have a rogue judge. The judge that we're talking about, you look at his other rulings. I mean, rulings unrelated, but having to do with me, he's a lunatic.
Well, the president doubling down right here on Fox News tonight on Laura Ingram's show. In his administration's deportations of Venezuelan gang members, let's bring in criminal defense attorney and federal litigator Vikas Bajaj, along with former Pinal County, Arizona Sheriff Mark Lamb. Thank you both for coming on tonight. Vic, to you first. I mean, the president, you heard him there, calls these people rogue judges. What's your opinion on all these decisions kind of going against the administration? Why, and what do you make of it?
I hate to say that they're expected. You know, it should be Judge Joe Schmo made a decision, not Judge Joe Schmo, a Democrat, made a decision.
Right.
And it's amazing how you can compartmentalize this. You know, it's very interesting because President Trump is saying, hey, you know what? We have rogue judges. We need to do something. I'm not going to violate a court order, but we need to do something about it. And this dovetails into the impeachment power. You know, 15 federal judges have been impeached. 8 of them were actually removed after a 2/3 vote by the Senate, going all the way back to 1802. Samuel Chase is probably one in 1805 that's saying, hey, I was impeached for political bias by the Jeffersonian Republicans. He wasn't eventually removed, but he was impeached. So when we hear that it is not a constitutional remedy, that's wrong. And perhaps this is President Trump leaning into the turn saying, we need to move forward aggressively for impeachment.
So the Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice was kind of weighing in, telling Trump not to weigh in. Maybe both should have. I don't know. Maybe the remedy is
kind of weighing in. I mean, you have a Supreme Court Justice saying, hey, by the way, I'm not naming names, but impeachment is not the right remedy.
Yeah.
That's a direct attack towards President Trump, the same way he had a direct attack towards President Trump in 2018 when President Trump targeted an implication against another federal district judge.
Meantime, Sheriff Bill Malugin wrote the following, quoting here, ICE Boston has arrested a 59-year-old Guatemalan illegal alien charged with 2 counts of indecent assault and battery against a Massachusetts child after he was released from local custody by the Boston Municipal Court, which ignored ICE's detainer. I mean, Sheriff, it's amazing to me that Boston would rather have a child sex offender on the streets than do anything that would comply or cooperate with the Trump administration.
Yeah, it is amazing. It should be amazing to all Americans. But sadly, there are not just Mayor Wu in Boston, but we saw from Chicago, from Denver, from all over the country. We're seeing mayors and other politicians getting in the way, protecting really bad people, protecting. Look, we've got them fighting for these people from TDA, from terrorists being removed from the country. I just don't understand it. I don't think the majority of the Americans understand it. And to your point on the judges, this is partly in parcel with the judges because the judges are not giving stiff enough sentences or no bail, or in some cases they're just OR, which is on own recognizant release. This is a problem. And what is the recourse for going after a bad judge who continues to make one bad ruling after another, going against his authority and the Constitution? So look, this is a problem all the way around. I know I rambled on, but judges are part of this problem. The mayors are part of this problem. We have to hold people accountable.
Meantime, The Guardian writes the following headline here. Judge rules against Musk and Doge, finding USAID shutdown likely violated the Constitution. Elon Musk was on Hannity a bit earlier. He had the following to say about Doge.
It turns out when you take away people's, the money they're receiving fraudulently, they get very upset. The reason I'm here is because I'm very worried about America going bankrupt due to the corruption and waste. And if we don't do something about it, the ship of America is going to sink. And we're all on that ship.
And it seems just to me, Vic, like justice is no longer blind. Lady Justice was supposed to be blind, right? And now it's not like that. You can shop for a judge.
It's almost a game, isn't it, Trace? Yeah. I mean, it's sort of, okay, let's start in the lower courts, whether it's a state court or a federal district court. let's roll the dice, let's see how it goes, and then let's depend on the circuit courts, and then let's eventually say we're always going to end up in the Supreme Court of the United States. The real fatal error with that is we shouldn't have this forum shopping. We shouldn't allow the district court judges to rely on their personal biases rather than what the Constitution says. Elon Musk said it very clearly. These are criminal fraudsters that are raising the flag in serious disappointment here, and that says a lot reading between the lines.
Yeah, it really does. Fox News headline is the following: a well-known immigration activist who hid in a Colorado church for years to avoid deportation has been arrested, a move Denver Mayor Mike Johnston called Soviet-style persecution of political dissidents. I mean, it's every liberal newspaper, Sheriff, calls this woman grandmother. That's the headline. Grandmother wants to be. She was supposed to be arrested and deported under Obama, and she kept avoiding it, and now they're blaming Trump for this whole thing. Your last thought on this, Sheriff?
Yeah, my understanding is this woman had a lengthy record, that she had been arrested or been charged in many other cases. And she actually went as far as to go to a church to hide from authorities, to escape the consequences of her actions. This is the type of people we're trying to root out of this country, but the left will continue to try to spin it against President Trump and his administration and his policies.
Yeah, Sheriff, Vic, thank you both.